you can either withhold his payments or maybe you can blacklist him as a vendor. So this is something which will be behind the scenes in the procurement process. But yes, this has to be taken care of and it has to be noted. There is another interesting concept which government is bringing here, and I would really appreciate government for such transparency which they are trying to bring here. Till date, whenever there is an extra accumulation of Senved credit due to inward ratio of taxes, I will explain you the inward ratio of taxes. What is that? See, for example, in a pharma company, their raw material is mostly chemicals and solvents, which are coming at a very high rate of excise Senved credit, that is 14% or 12.5%. But their output, which is generally life-saving drugs or essential drugs, they are charged with say only 6% of central excise duty, or the VAT is also very concessional rate of VAT. So now they used to have this additional accumulation of Senved credit which they were not able to utilize, and now that unutilized portion of Senved credit becomes the cost. So altogether the purpose of giving them the concessional rate of 6% used to get defied. Now government has tried to address this problem here. They have come out with a concept where there is such inward ratio of taxes, the extra accumulated Senved credit will be refundable in the hands of the buyer, as direct cash refund will be allowed. Of course, I am not going into the nitty-gritty, there will be a lot of strings attached to it. But yes, conceptually, they have allowed the refund of additional accumulation of Senved credit. Now, this is very big for some companies, especially in pharma and such industries. They will have great reduction of cost as far as raw material and such inward ratios are concerned. So, such type of changes are available in GST, which are to be consciously followed by the companies. So they will have an extra edge over their competition if they are properly and diligently using such benefits arising out of GST provisions.
So much, Mihir. The example was really very illustrative and I'm sure very useful as well. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful response. We have been in the last couple of months hearing a new buzzword, ISD. We all knew ISD to mean international dialing, but ISD in the context of GST, not so sure what it means. Ram, would you be able to give us an elaboration of what is ISD?
Sure, Nagaraj. Actually, it's taken from Central Excise and Service Tax. It is new for state legislation actually. Earlier it was in Central Excise and Service Tax. As we are aware that centralized registration concept has been scrapped in GST. However, ISD concept will be continued. ISD means input service distributor. Just like giving an example, a company having a head office in Delhi, which receiving the tax invoices in or for common services or for specific services for daily location only, and they have the multiple branches in Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. The Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata branches are also receiving the tax and supply invoices and also liable to raise the supply invoice for outward supplies. In that case, the Delhi branch will have the pool of Senved. How the pool of Senved can be utilized for payment of GST? Because there is no liability to pay GST for Delhi branch. Delhi branch can be registered as an input service distributor. In such scenario, the Delhi branch will raise we can say as a ISD invoice, not is the actually one ISD invoice, but the Delhi branch will raise a document in a manner which may be prescribed in a law to all the three units, to say Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. The Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata may discharge their liability through the input received from Delhi as an input service distributor.
Thanks, Ram. Thanks for giving insight around ISD. I'm sure going forward there will be two definitions for ISD at a minimum. Thank you so much, Ram.
My pleasure.
Looks like GST will impact every single business function within the company. We have, I think, looked at sales and supplies, but I'm sure every other aspect of business is going to be impacted. So, Mihir, can you throw light on this?
So, yeah, Nagaraj, I'm glad that you asked me this question because I got a lot of things to talk about this. As you rightly told, that every aspect of business is going to get affected. Now, to give you an insight how this is going to create ripples in the complete organization, is that to start with, as I had told in my earlier answers, the sales and the suppliers we will be having a lot of behind the scenes procedures and processes. So, as I told you that depot sales and everything will require and attract taxes, which will require more WC, that is working capital, to the companies. So the finance people will be on the toes, their stakeholders will be behind them that you please get some more money, more funding. Similarly, as I told, that procurement process get to be validated in another 2 months before any mismatch. So your accounts payable team, your accounts, the bill passing team, they will be having this, they'll be having this some whistleblower kind of thing, that where if any vendor is constantly mismatching your data, either you blacklist him or you withhold his payments. And for a larger organization with thousands of bills coming in, this got to be a complete process in itself. So like that, all accounts people will be busy with these processes. Supply chain and the logistics is the department which I think will be playing very key role in the profitability for the times to come. Because now if the taxes are same, all the competition is on the same platform, you will have to run much faster in order to beat the competition. So the logistics cost, the most efficient logistics and the most efficient supply chain will be the fittest organization and will be able to beat the competition, or you will lose out. So as I told, that strategically a new strategy or the new direction has to be given to the supply chain management and the logistics people so as to compete in the new era. So I think this covers almost all organizations. Now coming last but not the least, in fact one of the most critical functions which will be affected or will be the stakeholder rather in the complete process will be the IT department. As you already all now know that this is a network based tax. Now it is going to be uploaded or downloaded on that network. Whether be it your purchase invoice, whether be it your sales invoices, whether be it any other processes, there is a process of debit note, credit notes, there is a process of lot of movement of goods like job work and exports and SEZ supplies. As I told you in my earlier reply about the refund on invoice ratios, there will be refund on exports. So all these are again to be processed online on the GST network. Now for a large organization, it will have huge data as far as even refunds are concerned, or for that sake, any type of processes are concerned, sales bill, purchase bill, send credit, mismatch, match, mismatch. So you can imagine the volume of data which will be going in and out of that GST network. Now to handle such data, you should have a very robust ERP system in place. Otherwise, the data will go haywire and I cannot imagine the organization will be in a big mess. So, right from the day one, the ERP should be such strongly fundamentally equipped to handle such small matters arising out of the GST network and the GST provision. And I guess, or I can imagine that IT department will have to have people right from the data entry level to the final, you can say, the system or the IT in charge will be on the toes for another quarter even after the implementation of GST, or at least 6 months I would say, where they will have to have a constant tab over the output and the input of ERP, and they will have to constantly monitor in fact constantly align it with the GST network data which is appearing on that company's or organization's GST network, because that data will be the final fact. It will be the fact of the life for that organization. Government is not going to budge from that fact. So you will have to align your data with that GST network data, and any mismatch or reconciliation has to be taken care of at the, you can say the immediately or rather urgently. So I think this will give you fair enough idea that almost every part or every function of the organization is going to be affected. Not only that, they will have to take cognizance of a lot of facts and issues which has to be in place consciously by all the functional heads of that organization.
Sales, marketing, supply chain, IT, virtually every department would be part of this GST mix. Huge. The change seems to be not just huge, but it seems to be very exciting as well. Thanks so much for elaborating, Mihir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
SEZs are, I think, a very large part of the Indian economy today. The importance of SEZ is has only grown over time. I'm sure SEZs are also going to be impacted. So, Ram, what would be the way SEZs are going to be impacted? I mean, are they being impacted or not so much?
Actually, when GST Council released their first cut of model GST law in June 2016, there was no much about the SEZ and SEZ transactions. In second cut, which was released recently in November 2016, the Council has made the provision about the SEZ as well. According to Chapter 8 of Model IGST law, the supply or sale to SEZ developer or unit will be zero rated. It is important that sale or supply to SEZ unit will be treated as inter-state supply. Even though, just for example, if a unit having a SEZ, if a company having a unit in Pune SEZ unit and receiving a supply from Mumbai as the domestic vendor, actually it is an intra-state, but according to provisions, it will be treated as inter-state supply and IGST will be charged. However, it will be zero rated, but there will be few supplies on which the SEZ will be charged by any IGST or CGST and LGST, whatever. There will be a pool of SENVAT lying with the SEZ. How the SEZ can get the refund of that SENVAT or can utilize for payment of their domestic unit. There is a provision that SEZ can utilize that SENVAT to pay the liability of domestic unit or can apply for refund.
Thank you so much, Ram, for outlining so very well on the impact with respect to SEZ. It is clear that organizations to become GST ready, IT will play a very big role. Mihir actually outlined this very well in what he said. So how do we get GST ready? How do organizations become GST ready? How should IT work to gear itself? Verma, would you like to provide some insights around this?
Right. This is in fact very important for all the customers for implementing GST. There are a couple of prerequisites which are mandatory. One is on the system minimum release level, and the second one is on the taxation procedure that customers are running on. If you come to the tax, the system release level, the minimum release or the version should be at ECC 6.0, and on top of it, there are certain service pack levels which were released by SAP and which are mandatory to be implemented. Those are basically to activate the GST level changes on the screen level and OS level. This is the first thing which is very much mandatory. And then when it goes to the second one, the customers are running on now tax ING and tax INN procedures. Whereas for implementing the GST, the mandatory one is the customer should be on tax INN procedure. So those are all the customers who are still running on tax ING procedure must be migrated to tax INN for implementing the GST. So these are the two mandatory steps before we actually go to the GST implementation. In addition to that, I can also suggest implementing a separate sandbox system for implementing the GST instead of directly doing this implementation onto the live landscape. So that will reduce the maximum risk after we go live. Hope that answered your question, Nagaraj.
Thanks so much, Verma. I think it outlines where we start. And it also means that maybe we should start early rather than starting later, okay? Because there are a lot of things to be done. There is a lot of work to be done. It makes sense, therefore, for us to start early. The transition from within SAP, the system that is the most popular system in India, how do we enable the transition, Ananta? I mean, is there a specific mode, specific method that is recommended? I mean, from best practices as you would outline, how do you do the transition?
Good. Basically, let's start like this. Meet the prerequisites first, as Verma explained already, and then go for a 3-step procedure. The first step is implementing your IGST, SGST and CGST in the system, right? That's point 1. And point 2, go for the master data, various master data changes in the system. And the third one, go for the open transactions, like open sales orders, open purchase orders, etc., etc. Once you meet these 3 in the system, then check for the SAP nodes. SAP has already released 16 plus nodes so far, okay? And those nodes were already tested by us, by our team in YASH Technologies, right? So we are ready with SAP, GST, compliance as far as the system is concerned, and I think we can go ahead. Hope this is the transition, what we have to follow, Nagaraj, strictly.
Thank you so much, Ananta. I think it is clear that these steps are going to ensure that we become GST ready, okay, and we are able to take the next step. Praveen, is it necessary to deactivate all existing excise functionalities? Do we kind of restart the entire thing? I mean, what is it? There is a lot of, there are a couple of people who have been recommending this. I don't know whether they're right or wrong. So should we be deactivating? What should we be doing with respect to excise functionalities?
You hit the right point, Nagaraj. In fact, it's really not necessary to deactivate the existing excise functionalities. The customers can still continue with the existing excise functionalities. Without touching the existing excise functionalities, we can implement GST functionalities without getting hampered onto the system with the existing functionalities. See, there are instances, there would be some instances where customers are required to be coexist with excise as well as GST. The industries like petroleum products, alcohol products, and some other industries which are prescribed in the GST law are to be coexist with excise and GST. So it is not recommended to touch anything on existing excise functionalities to any of the customers. They can very well implement GST without hampering the existing excise. In addition to that, there would also be requirement of extracting the information on the previous transactions, maybe as required by the tax authorities or maybe the management information system requirements. So if you touch anything on that, it may hamper that particular area. So we would not recommend anybody to touch on the existing functionalities. We can still happily implement a GST without touching the excise.
I'm sure this is a matter of comfort for all SAP customers. There are HSN and SSE codes that now need to be part of the system. How do we manage this within SAP?
Yeah, now this GST is coming up with a concept of HSN and SSE. HSN is already available, which is being followed in imports by the customs. But SSE, yes, there's something new to be implemented in the GST regime. So already SAP system is geared up for that particular aspect. We are already using the HSN for the material masters, wherein which it can